Hi, everyone. I'm Steve Adubato. We're honored to welcome Dr. Angelica Allen-McMillan, Acting Commissioner, Department of Education, the great state of New Jersey. Good to see you, Commissioner.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
You told me something before we got on the air we have to disclose and get out of the way. Is it a fact that when you were getting your doctorate at Seton Hall University, that I was your professor in that program?
True indeed.
And in spite of that and the poor evaluation you gave me, you're still with me now.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not about me, it's about you. Okay, so let's talk education. So right out of the box, talk to us about what you believe to be the most pressing issues as we enter the new school year in September, the most pressing educational issues for the children of our public schools in the great state of New Jersey. Please, Commissioner.
Absolutely. And again, thank you for having me. It is truly my pleasure to be with you. I like to begin by focusing on the overall health and well-being of our school communities. It is paramount that we attend to not only the academic needs, but the social and emotional needs of our students and educators. So as we shift from the pandemic of COVID-19 to an endemic state, we want to ensure that we have provided the appropriate level of resources that will help schools not only properly staff, but have the materials and resources available to target the needs that arise in their particular communities.
Commissioner, again, we've talked about our own children in public schools and our daughter in public schools right now. And like any parent, concerned deeply about learning loss. To what degree can we truly assess the quote unquote learning loss beyond the emotional, social, psychological issues, but the actual learning loss of our children? Is there any real way to assess that?
So yes, there is a way to assess it, but the reality is that it does take time to assess that loss. What we have done at the state Department of Education is to implement the Start Strong assessment in the fall. And so what that does, it allows us to administer a 45-minute assessment that checks on prior year standard mastery, if you will, and knowledge. As we put forth the standards for school districts to craft their curricula around, we know that there are priority standards that are most important to move students forward. So this real-time data allows teachers to have that information, because we also know about the summer slide for some. And over the summer, some students may not retain as much as they would have if school was year round. But with that said, it gives teachers and parents information in real time to begin to adjust curricula and to provide proper supports.
Commissioner, you've seen the reports. I've seen them. You're much closer to it than anyone. The number of teachers retiring, the difficulty attracting teachers these days. How serious is it? And B, what can the state actually do to turn that tide around?
Yes. So speaking to the severity of it, I want to begin by stating that we have had some long-standing challenges in particular disciplines, science, and more specifically physics. Also, as it relates to bilingual educators and special educators, to name a few. But now we are also learning that the pool of applicants is shrinking for many of our school districts. As we are decentralized in the state of New Jersey with over 600 school districts, the data varies. And for us, it is anecdotal because we don't collect it, but we are aware of a shift. And we can go back to the number of individuals enrolling in our educator preparation programs that is also declining. It's not at the levels that it was, but we haven't had a bottoming out of it. But I do want to acknowledge that we do have many individuals entering into our profession through the alternate route program.
Real quickly, if you get alternate route is you're an accountant somewhere and you say, you know what, I want to teach, but I don't have a teaching certificate. What is the alternate route program, real quickly?
Yeah, so the alternate route program allows individuals with degrees and also those who may have certification from another state to enter the teaching profession through another set of standards and qualifications. So it's parallel.
Okay. Shift gears if we could. A lot of information, misinformation, confusing around quote unquote critical race theory. I was watching Bill Maher the other day, Don't judge me, just watching Bill Maher. And he said, something interesting. He said, what about a kid who goes home, a white kid, a 5-year-old kindergarten kid who says, Mommy, am I a racist? And the point of his monologue was to imply, to state that some of the so-called critical race theory curricula actually sends the message to white children of all ages, including 5-year-olds in kindergarten, that they are part of the problem and inherently racist. A, what is critical race theory? And B, is it not what Bill Maher described?
I thank you for that question. Critical race theory refers to a course that is often taught in law school. It has become politicized and put into the realm of K through 12 education. We do not teach critical race theory in New Jersey. I can say that emphatically. It is not in our standards. It is not promoted at any local level. According to my knowledge, we have county offices that have their finger on the pulse of what is occurring in school districts. But as it relates to teaching about diversity, and some will say broadly race, we have put forward standards and supplemental material to teach about diversity in grades K through 12, as well as teaching about the contributions of individuals with disabilities and those who identify as LGBTQ in grades 6 through 12.
Okay, since you mentioned this, sex education, if you will, a lot of folks watching are saying, hey, Steve, are you going to ask the commissioner about our teachers teaching third graders about those who identify as trans, those who, you know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
What exactly is the curricula as it relates to sex education regarding the issues that many parents are so concerned about?
Yes.
A, and B, what the heck is age appropriate, please?
Absolutely. So as a parent, and I weigh in from both sides, right? I am a practitioner and I am a parent. And these standards that we're referring to, the comprehensive health and physical education standards, were put forward to the State Board of Education in June of 2020. And that is during our normal cyclic review, right? So with that, there was consultation with experts and there was a public hearing, if you will, where we share the results and give individuals opportunity to comment on the standards.
And not a lot of people said anything. And after the fact, it was like, oh, is that what they did? Go ahead.
Yes, and people did weigh in, but we honored the voice of the experts who said it is so important that we begin to have conversations with children about stereotypes as it relates to gender as young as grades K through 2. That is to promote girls being great at math, boys being great in the arts. It is not to promote a sexualization of children.
But hold on one second, Commissioner, excuse me for interrupting. Someone says, wait a minute, you're in a third grade class. Does a kid have a choice to say that they are in fact a boy or a girl? And is that promoted in the curricula? And B, is that not confusing to the other kids?
So I'm going to answer it from a teacher perspective, having had some of these conversations arise during instruction. Teachers respond to questions that students raise. They respond to conversations that are had in the classroom. Many teachers direct students back to their parents for the full breadth of the answer. And as a professional, I am confident that that continues to happen. What is now put before us are standards that speak with greater specificity to areas that may concern parents. And I'm going to say this, going back to the 1980s, there was a law signed that allows parents to opt out of lessons where that we know content will be taught.
Is that still there, Commissioner?
Yes,
is that
it's
there?
still,
They can opt out.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. They can opt out.
I interrupt you. You got 30 seconds left. Please go ahead.
Oh, so with that, teachers take great care to ensure that they are not working to indoctrinate children. They're working to respond to questions and directing them back to their parents. But school districts with the Board of Education also take responsibility by approving the curricula to be taught and notifying parents when particular topics that may be considered controversial will be discussed and give parents the right to opt out.
P.S. As we finish this segment, the commissioner has background teaching in East Orange and Newark. And as you said, her own children, she has faced this as a parent as well. Commissioner, I cannot thank you enough for joining us. We wish you and the team at the Department of Education all the best on behalf of all of our children in public schools. Thank you, Commissioner.
My pleasure.
You got it. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Think Tank with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by the New Jersey Education Association, PNC, Grow Up Great, the Turrell Fund, supporting Reimagine Childcare, IBEW Local 102, Englewood Health, Johnson & Johnson, MD Advantage Insurance Company, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, and by Choose New Jersey. Promotional support provided by NorthJersey.com and Local IQ, part of the USA Today network, and by New Jersey Monthly.
It only gets better when we stand together to tough through and get by. Even though it's harder than ever, we're gonna make it. Long as we don't break it, just do right. There's no sides. We must know it's part of forever. It only gets better.